Okay, so today we're going to start working in soft pastel. And your soft pastels are these little chunks of colored chalk or colored charcoal. So we're going to be continuing to use our charcoal pencils, and we're going to add in these soft pastel chunks to kind of build on the concept of working in charcoal. We are also going to be learning about color, obviously, because we're going to be working in color. So you should have a copy of these eyes, and on the back side of that sheet is some information about color. And so what's important for you to know and think about when we're working in color is that color really sets the mood. It sets the tone for the artwork that we create, because we as human beings have an incredible reaction to color. Okay, we have favorite colors, we have colors we don't like. We have colors that mean certain things to us because they symbolize things. And everyone has that. Those reactions to color are cultural and they're personal, and they're different for different people. So it's important for you to realize that you're going to pick colors that relate to you as you work, and your viewer will have a different reaction based on their relationship to those colors that you've picked. Also on here we have a color wheel. And the color labels are in there. We are going to begin with this first eye on the sheet using a monochromatic color scheme. On the back of the sheet, monochromatic uses one single color and black and white. So if I'm thinking about using one single color, it could be any color on the color wheel, any color that I have in my kit. So I could use green. I can make my green darker by adding black. I can make my green lighter by adding white. The other thing that I can also do is if I have a lighter version of my color, I can also use that. So this would still be considered a monochromatic color scheme. I am still using green. It is a little bit yellower green, sure, but it is also a lighter green. If I were to also have a darker green, I could use the darker green. So it's something that you can use lighter and darker versions of the color that you're also using. So if I was doing a monochromatic green color scheme, these are the charcoals that I would use. I also need to use my black and white charcoal pencil, and I need to use my vine charcoal. So there's an example of the supplies that I'm going to need on hand to make this practice work or assignment happen. When I begin not with the color and not with the chunks, but with the vine charcoal and with the pencils. So it's important for me to begin first by drawing using my vine charcoal. So I have a section of my charcoal paper here, and I'm going to simply draw a contour line drawing of this eye as accurately as I possibly can. I'm going to go ahead and just start with my eyebrow. You'll notice too that I don't put in a lot of details, but I am tiny details like these little hairs. I'm not going to put that in right now. I can like make an indication of where they are just to have like the full effect of the eyebrow, but I'm not going to add that in right now with my vine charcoal. That is a finishing detail that I will add later on with my actual charcoal. So remember, the advantage to working the contour line drawing in vine charcoal is that if I feel like I make a mistake, I can fix that mistake immediately just by rubbing it out. While I am working on this, I do want to be as accurate as possible. So the eyes that I draw should look like the eyes that belong to these people. So it shouldn't look like just a bunch of random eyes. It should look like the eyes that are here on the sheet. I can see right away that I have made this space here way too big. So remember how I said vine charcoal? I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that out, and I'm going to begin again so that my drawing is more accurate. I can still see some of what was there, so I'm trying to use what was working and trying to avoid what wasn't working. And that is the first step here, is to make that contour line drawing, adjust, modify and adjust it as needed so that it is as accurate as I possibly can get it. So there is step one, contour line drawing using vine charcoal. Step two is for me to use my actual charcoal pencils and to shade this in. So my pastel drawing should start with a fairly finished looking black and white charcoal drawing. And for this first eye, it not only says monochromatic, but it also says that I'm just going to use the pencils to blend. So that means I'm not using the paintbrush or a blending stump of any kind. I'm just going ahead and I'm using the actual charcoal to make the drawing. So I'm gonna go ahead and you'll notice that I keep the drawing right here so that I can see it the entire time. And this is another chance for me to kind of refine and adjust so that my drawing is as accurate as possible. So remember, lighter value, lighter pressure, darker value, darker pressure. I'm not thinking about eyelashes. Those are definitely a finishing detail and something that I'm not going to think about adding until last. But I'm definitely kind of squinting my eyes and looking for where there are darker values here and where there are lighter values. And I am roughing those value planes in with my charcoal right now. Focusing first on the darks, and then I will work my way towards the light. Not doing any details on the things like eyebrows. Just a fairly rough representation. Once I have the darks in reasonably well, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my lights. So just like making that charcoal drawings, I want this to feel fairly finished with the charcoal before I start with the color. I will have to go back with my black and white and adjust these value planes again. It's just the nature of the work we're doing is that we're going to be, it's not a single process, it's multiple processes kind of all pitched in together. So as my, like looking at my drawing and looking at the reference photo, I can see that some of my values have like shifted off where they need to be, but I'm not worried about that per se right now. Just because I know I'm gonna have to come back and adjust those anyway after I add my color. So there we go. I have my lights, I have my darks, I have some of my mediums, and I'm going to continue to refine these, but at least it's a beginning. And now I'm gonna add my color, okay? So the color I choose is up to me. It's monochromatic, so it is just one single color. And black and white. Remember, if I have more than one color in my set, I can use more than one color. So I could use these two colors of green as I work. Or if I have multiple colors of blue, for instance, in my set, I could use those multiple colors of blue. So what I'm gonna do first is just kind of line them up and think, okay, there they are from dark to light. From dark to light, I have my colors. And now I'm going to add them in to my illustration where, and to my drawing where they are. So these areas are lighter in my photo reference. So I'm gonna start with my lighter blue, and you'll see as I'm working, my drawing is shifting a little bit, and that is normal. And it's why, like I said before, I wasn't super worried about having it be completely perfect, because I knew as I did some of this, adding the color, I was going to need to go back and adjust. So there's my lightest. I could go ahead and put some of this middle blue in where it's kind of in between. So there's some middle blue. Now I can come in here with my darkest. And where things are small, I'm trying to use the edge. Where they're bigger, I can use like the flat side of the charcoal, or the pastel, I guess. And now I need to go back with my black and white, and I can use the chunk, or I find it kind of useful to come back now with the pencils and just sort of reshade. You will find too that as you are doing some of the detail work, that you will benefit from switching to a little bit harder charcoal. Like if I started with a soft, switching to a medium can be useful. So you can see I'm starting to refine this work. I can go back with the white as well. And a little bit, I'm using these pencils now as a blending tool to finish my drawing. Not gonna do any like finishing details until I'm sure that all of these other things are in place. So I'm just looking at lights and darks. I can, as I finish some of this too, I can come in and add more of that hair texture as a finishing detail over the top. Kind of crisp some of that up. And I'm not gonna add any like lash detail until I'm sure all of the rest of this is finished. And when I'm ready for the lashes, I want to make sure that I'm just drawing what I can see of the lashes that are there. Like I don't want to over exaggerate the lashes. And I do also want to make sure that I have a reasonable match between my drawing and the photo, my drawing and the photo. So I'm kind of constantly looking back and forth. And now when I go to add the lashes, I am being really careful to make sure that I am just adding the ones that I can actually see. A really sharp, or as sharp as you can get the charcoal, and that's why I said to switch to the hard or the medium when you're adding these finishing details is really useful. And now these upper lashes, I can barely really see them. They're just this strange like shadow shape that's here, kind of almost more visual texture. So I don't want to like add crazy lashes if I don't see crazy lashes. And then this outer corner, there are a couple here that just come through as being lighter. And then I would be finished and I would move on to my next drawing using the next color scheme the same way.